Hello and welcome to the Arsenal Bite Size Podcast. I'm your host Clayton at Clayton's AFC on Twitter. He's back. You didn't hate him. Uncle Mike's back to join me for the title race preview. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Looking forward to Sunday, whatever happens.
Yeah. How are you feeling? It's obviously been a weird week where should we talk about Tuesday?
Yeah.
Go on. But how was Tuesday for you? And for context, if ever you're watching this back, podcast listeners, Tuesday was obviously Tottenham playing Man City, where Arsenal needed Tottenham to do Arsenal a favour, and they didn't.
No. Do you think? Well, firstly, Romero. Let's talk about him.
Romero,
yeah. That challenge on, non-challenge on Foden for starters. He goes round.
Do you think he threw it then?
Yeah, I do. I honestly do. He's the type, and did you see him after he was?
Yeah.
I mean, there's all you can look at so much of it, can't you? But I mean, the guy goes around. Look at the way he defended against us, chasing our players, looking for confrontations, looking to spark something, and he lets a little skinny rats from Stockport sort of go run past him and didn't even put a challenge in. He could have put him in Rosette. If he was the hard,
that's what he likes to do, don't he?
And then you go on to the Sun chance. I mean, I was working, so I was caught sort of working away, looking up at the screen.
I was in a pub in Finsbury Park with my mate watching.
Yeah, and when it went 1-0, I thought, right, that's it. I mean, to be fair, Tottenham played quite well. I
played
thought
very well. Yeah.
And then, but it was almost inevitable, wasn't it? I think I texted my mates at half time and I said, "What time is the heartbreaking goal gonna happen?" Because you just knew it was gonna come. And then that Sun chance. I mean, you could look at that and say, was that? He does that 99 times out of 100. He scores that.
Yep.
I just had images. I was working and I looked up at the screen and it's up for grabs.
So what did you see? You just saw him running through.
I just saw him running. I saw the ball through and I was like, oh my god, it's up for grabs. That commentary was running through my head, and you can imagine if it had have happened our way, that would have just gone down in legend. That would have been overplayed. You know, that commentary would have been put over that track. My heart was in my mouth, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I sort of vowed that I wasn't going to cheer a Tottenham goal.
Yeah,
I would have cheered, not celebrated. I would waited until the result, because there's no point just cheering a goal. Because do you think if Son had scored that, City, the inevitable City, would have gone on, and there was still 15 minutes left of that game?
Was there 15? I don't know.
Yeah, because they had 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Well, it was 85th minute, wasn't it?
And but then there was a 10 minutes added.
10 minutes, yeah. So could you have seen City go on, and that would have been a real hot, nervy moment? That would have. But what was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'll be completely honest, because I can say what my thoughts were, but I can't lie about how I behaved. So in the lead up to the match, I thought there was some fucking embarrassing things going on online. Like,
I thought both sets, to be honest.
Both sets, yeah. I'm talking about our own here as well.
Yeah.
Like,
both sets.
Fuck me, man. People changing their profile pictures, chanting some of their songs, saying the 4-letter acronyms.
Yeah.
Their version.
And the worst one, that emblem that's got the both crests.
Yeah, that's fucking tin pot. But having said that, I believed a Tottenham win would be best for Arsenal Football Club. So did I want Tottenham to win that game of football? Yeah, because I thought it was beneficial for Arsenal. But I wasn't.
But you're not going to change your profile picture,
supporting them and stuff. Yeah, and yeah. So that's how I was feeling. And then like you said, I'm not going to celebrate anything. But I found myself as the game was going on,
giving it the old go on.
Yeah. I was getting out of my seat, and when Son went in like 1-on-1, I got out of my seat, and it's like it's because it wasn't for Tottenham; it's because of what it could have meant for Arsenal.
Of course.
But having said that, I never once chanted like a fucking Tottenham song. And I I think this week has shown some right helmets in both fan bases, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And,
Blue moons being put on by Spurs fans.
Poznans, and it's just embarrassing. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be a hypocrite, because I remember what it was like when they were in the Champions League final, and I did want Liverpool to win. I didn't want Tottenham to win, and it was a horrible experience. But
of course,
there's one thing kind of wanting your rivals to do you a favour, and then there's another going out there and
actively
making a fool of yourself. And I think that's like, you can want something, but just keep it to yourself. Shut the fuck up.
Shut up. Don't tell the world. Just keep it to yourself. And then if it happens, then you can start giving it. But until then, no. So and then that last, I mean, they did have chances, but then you see Son and Pep after, and you kind of all that last
suspect, isn't it?
Stuff. Yeah, well, suspect. I want the geezer's bank account checked, mate. I'm telling you. So so we can't rely on them, never can. So then we move to West Ham and just hope they can do us the favour.
And before we get into it, obviously, going into Sunday, it's a bit of a weird feeling, right? I tweeted a couple of weeks ago.
So I was really flat after the.
Yeah, you text me the morning after that.
And I was really flat, and
But so how are you feeling going into Sunday then?
It's really weird. I think the hope that I had has been extinguished. But we never know, and that's the thing, don't we? We can never tell. But everything in your heart is telling you that it's not going to happen. So to protect myself from the pain of it, that's why I keep telling myself, look, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Just be grateful of or thankful we've had a fantastic season, all the highs, all the stats that we've achieved, all the records that we've broken. The landmark victories that we've ticked off in certain grounds and redeemed ourselves places. That's what I'm really going back to, because I don't know, I just can't see it happening.
No, me either. But I just want to double down on what you said. Regardless of the fact that I don't see it happening, I think the fact that this Arsenal team has the ability and potential to put 89 points on the board, which would be our second ever highest tally in the Premier League. We've broken the record for amount of wins in a domestic campaign, 27 wins, could even be one more. We've broken all sorts of records in terms of defensive and even offensive metrics. We've gone to grounds that have been hoodoo grounds and won over the last 2 years. It's a journey that, and Arteta speaks about this a lot, right? Like enjoying the journey. And I do think as a fan base, I think we're doing quite well in that. I think there's a lot of other fan bases that would have a complete breakdown that we've performed to this level and we're not going to get a trophy. But I think we're all so confident in where we're going to go anyway.
And I think if you look at it, it's the other fan bases that are questioning why we aren't having a meltdown.
It's a really good point, yeah.
Because I mean, there are the reactive arseholes online, and you can't, I really hate that. Judge a whole fan base by a few knobheads on Twitter, or certain podcasts or streams that we know their agenda. So don't judge all of that. I think most Arsenal fans are like ourselves, sensible. We know what we've achieved. This, you see the people coming out with Arteta's been there 5 years, has only won one FA Cup and 2 Community Shields and spent 500 million. They're trying to build the narrative that, and I think that's why the most vocal fans recently have been Liverpool fans, because obviously they don't want Klopp's legacy, because we would hold it up. We could we could just throw it on the table and say, well, they both won the same amount of Premiers leagues if it happened this year. I think that's why I wanted to talk to you about it as well, is why we're getting so much hate.
I wanted to ask you that as someone that's an older fan, like you.
My theory is like, because let's face it, the last 10 years have been banter years. Yeah. Right. So 10 years ago today, we won that FA Cup against Hull. Fancy day. Yeah. We were struggling from, say, 2009 onwards. So if you go back, there's a lot of younger generation of fans from opposition that have only known Arsenal to be the banter club. Yeah,
Mate,
so we're
my whole
talking.
secondary school period was full of like the 8-2s, the 6-1s,
6-1s, the 5-0s, all of
Yeah.
those 6-1. So we've had all the 6-1 or 6-0 at Chelsea, all of those. Yeah. So 6-1, was it 6-1 at Chelsea at Wenger's last game or Wenger's Thousands game?
I think it was 6-1. Yeah.
So
there was a few 6-0s in there though, so it might be confusing him.
So we've had all of those, and they tend to not remember, you know, the Invincible team or the late 90s team, or even going back the older lot to the 80s, 89 and 91. So their perception of Arsenal has been, well, you're the banter club, you've got Mustafi, you've got that, you're shit, blah 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 blah, and they've used that as a, oh look, we might be shit, but we're not Arsenal shit. So now in the last, and that's why you'll see so many fans will go, oh, I don't want Arsenal to win the league because their fans are a nightmare, their fans are insufferable, and they don't sort of reflect and think, well, how much shit have you given Arsenal fans in the last 10 years? Quite rightly, you know, we can't defend ourselves, you know, and that's where the situation. If you're a United fan now, you can't really defend yourself, but you're looking over at Arsenal, who used to be able to go, oh, but Arsenal is shit as well. Well, now Arsenal and Arteta are proving all of your narratives wrong in the last 2 or 3 years. All of the crumble memes and the bottle memes, or they've soon gone. You know, they come out. I got them after Villa. Chelsea fans were sending me them after Villa.
People had them ready in the drafts, didn't they?
They've been ready. They've been ready all season, and that's why a lot of it came out on Tuesday, because it was, oh fuck, Arsenal 80%. Well, we got an 18% chance of winning the league, right? Yeah. 18. So they're fairly confident that we're not going to do it. So it's like, oh, okay, I can now start chucking that shit around that I've been waiting since January to chuck around. And that's why we're, as a fan base, as you say, we're learning, I think, that we can see the journey.
Yeah,
we can see the progress. It's not, as Mikel said, it's history now. Those 28 victories.
What a bar that was, wasn't it?
Oh, mate, that was he knew that was coming. You know, he had that prepared.
Yeah,
he had that prepared. He was like, I'm gonna have you, right? Yeah.
What was it, line for line? That's not progress. That's history.
That's history.
Mic drop.
Yeah, and it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful because it really struck a chord with me, because how everyone's saying, well, is it progress? You know, even like the likes of Carragher and Neville, wankers what they are, but they are an important part of the media, because they do drive a lot of narrative and a lot of other fans thinking, and they will say that we've had an unsuccessful season because we haven't won a trophy.
Yeah. And
I would argue different after what the stats that you were saying earlier and what we have achieved with the 89 or potentially 89 points. What it goes to the bigger question is, what do you judge as success in this Manchester City era?
Yeah, and this is the thing, like, for reasons that, I mean, it's been done to death, right? But there's this big elephant in the room in terms of how Man City have potentially got to where they are. There's 115 reasons how they've got to where they are. Like, that aside, let's forget that, because that's all going on. Like, footballing wise, and things we can control, we're up against one of the best sides football has ever seen. They won the treble last year. They're on their longest ever unbeaten run. And it, like, the money thing I find so interesting. And I'm going to allude to something like Clive said this week, right? And it's basically, like, I'm paraphrasing here. I'm part using what Clive said and part of my own opinion here. But Man City set the benchmark in terms of spending, right? Yeah. They went and kind of set that benchmark in terms of, we're going to spend 50 million on fullbacks. That's now the new norm. And people have to play catch up. They've gone for years and built this juggernaut squad where they're now cherry picking. And then when fucking Pep Guardiola's coming out and cherry picking narratives to suit him, it's like, mate, you have set the standards that people have to catch up to, both in terms of the footballing ability of the squad. And I'm going to say, fair play, no matter what's gone on in terms of how they've got there, the actual governance around how they've done it and the processes they've put in place are elite. Whether they've cheated their way there or not, that they've still, like, Chelsea haven't got there, right?
No. So plus the wages.
plus the wages. Like they're run incredibly well, but there's a huge ethical question on how they've got there. Having said that, we can only control what we're up against, which is they're playing their football, and we have taken them to the wire. This is the best ever team the Premier League has seen. They're going to potentially, well, I'm going to stop saying potentially. They're going to win 4 years in a row. Like I said, they've just won the treble. They've got the best manager football has ever seen, arguably.
They're going to win the double.
Mate, they're gonna win the double. They're gonna beat Man United in the FA Cup, and like Dream Team Professor Morning, mate, Scott's in the chat says we've got to a place where people would just prefer City to win as they'll hear less about it. Like it's mind blowing to me that we're potentially going to hit. Yeah, but we're potentially going to hit 89 points. Have lost 1, drawn 1 in 2024. Like that, you can't tell me that's bottling it. Any other, I think I heard 18 other times that wins the league, maybe something like that. And I know Liverpool went and did 97, and I'm not trying to get in a comparison game around Arteta, Klopp, Liverpool, Arsenal. It's just in isolation this season, no one can tell me Arsenal bottled it. Like you have to be near perfection, and I still think there's levels for this Arsenal group to get to, and that's why when we talk about the journey, I don't look as trophies as an outcome, as a measure of sustainable success. I think when you're a team like Man City, of course, but when you're a team like Arsenal, who, if you break it into chunks in terms of where we've come from, when Arteta first came in, I'd say like everyone talks about the five phase plan, right? But like if we were to make our own ones, like the first couple of years was like about cleaning, just completely clear and gut the squad and get it to a point where it's like good characters. Then it was about getting top 4. When we were going for top 4 as the metric and the goal, we exceeded that. We came second immediately. And now like we're putting a title chase together. I genuinely think Arteta is going to set the group a points total target of 100 points next season. And all of the metrics, I'm not saying we'll get there, but all of the metrics point to me that it is doable, and I still think we will improve. Timber will come back. We'll upgrade areas of the pitch. We have been finding our dynamics this year. I remember I said I didn't even think we were playing well in 2023. Like offensively, I had lots of concerns. We've got a few trolls in the chat, so cheers for spending your time on an Arsenal channel, whoever you guys support. But to this point, right, so we've got Lord in 5 years and 1 FA Cup, same trophies as Brendan Rodgers at Leicester City. I will throw that back. I don't know why people put these parameters around. And it's like I said, like the objectives for Arteta in the first 5 years was not about winning the Premier League. It was about getting the team to a level where they can compete for the Premier League and hopefully trophies beyond. If I was to play the Uno reverse card, how many trophies do you think Arteta will win if he's here for another 5-10 years? I'll tell you how confident I am. And I would love to hear the trolls tell me what their answer is there. Their honest answer based on what they've seen of Arsenal and Arteta. If Mikel Arteta was to continue as Arsenal manager for another 5 to 10 years, how many trophies do you think he'd win? I'll put myself out there. I think he'd beat Klopp's legacy at Liverpool. That's how confident I am in where we're headed.
Yeah.
And without further ado, should we go into the Everton preview? So it's a nice sunny day on Sunday. It's my birthday, as I haven't mentioned at all. Trying to milk this one. So if you're there, buy me a drink. Do we even need to do a predicted lineup?
The only question I was going to ask was, do you think Timber makes an appearance?
Ooh. Keyword there was appearance. Yeah, I think he could, That's a great shout. Like, I think a substitute appearance.
Yes, obviously game state and scoreline. I mean, the thing that I don't think we can underestimate Everton, though.
No, I do agree with that.
It's because just like City, I was a little bit pissed off with. There was a little bit of it's done. Now we kind of know it's done, but
what do you mean?
Can't. As in, they absolutely are just thinking they're going to roll over West Ham.
I think they will, mate.
Yeah, but you should. That's a dangerous thing. As you know, you shouldn't. Just like we shouldn't just assume that we're going to do the business on. So I think we will.
Yeah,
but it all depends if Dyche turns up in the tracksuit or the suit.
Yeah. Well, they're safe now, right?
Yeah, of course. But I just wouldn't it be so Dyche is to say. They're all talking about Arsenal winning the title. Let's fuck them up on the last game of the season. It just raises his profile as I can do this against the big boys.
They're in a decent vein of form, though. Unbeaten in 5.
Yeah, and they do play a different game to most teams because they're very long ball. They actually play the most long ball team in the league. 100 passes more than Bournemouth in the long balls. So you know what's going to happen. It's going to be Pickford up to Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah. And we've seen we struggled against Villa when they did that, right? They pinned Zaniolo was there against White.
There's things, I would play Kivior.
Would you?
No, sorry. I would play Tommy.
Yeah.
If he's fit. I don't think it's a Zinchenko game. I would probably play Jorginho.
Would you? Okay. So I would have played Jorginho at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Do you think he will?
No, I think he'll probably play Partey, to be honest. But then he was saying such a bad game, didn't he? That's coming into my mind. Is
where I've landed on Arteta is earlier in the season, I was very much convinced. I thought he'd be a guy that would change the lineup tactically based on certain things from the opposition. And I've very much moved the other way, that I think when he lands on a team that is performing well and getting results, unless there is fatigue or enforced things, like I think the key one in terms of tactical things is like there's games where Havertz suits being a striker and there's games where Jesus suits being a striker. But even that, I think now he's just landed on like this team is performing well. And remember that run we went on where we were winning 5-0, 6-0. It was like Kivior left back, White inverting from right back. Who was midfield? It was like Jorginho, Trossard, Havertz interchanging. And he stuck with that, even Porto away. Like we didn't think, I didn't think that was the right team for Porto away, but he still stuck with it. So I have more landed on now, unless there's enforced things that forces him to change something or a very unique tactical thing that he could change. I think he just sticks with the same team week in, week out.
Well, he done it. I know it was slightly different because it was sort of injury enforced, wasn't it? But he had. Remember when Eddie gets a run in the game, a run of games, and if you go back to
when start of the season, right? He played 7-8 games.
Yeah, and then if you go back to the time we were challenging for fourth, and he persisted with Lacazette, and Eddie, and then suddenly it just didn't work, and then he brought in Eddie, and we sort of had a bit of an upturn in form, didn't we?
Yep.
At the end of the and we was all going, well, should he have
done it earlier?
It's one of those that Clive always says it, that you should be foreseeing if it's going for eight games, but by the time of the ninth game, is your luck going to run out, and do you start making the? But I agree with you. He does seem to stick with the lineup. I do think Trossard will start. I think it will. Do you think Saka will be fit?
Yeah, I've got no doubt about it. That's a good point on Trossard, though. Like and I guess to allude to my point on why I think he just sticks with teams now. Like Old Trafford, Man United away for me was a Martinelli game. It was a Jorginho game more than a Partey and Trossard. But Trossard got the goal, albeit he got hooked early. But I think that's why more and more I'm landing on these things. And I can't remember what game it was, but there was another game that I thought was a Zinchenko game more than a Tommy game. But he went with Tommy, and I just think now, it's one game a week since we got knocked out of the Champions League. And I think next season I'm more clear that I think there will be less rotation than I thought, unless it's in a congested period, personally.
Yeah. And then we'll see if it'd be nice if Timber does make an appearance.
Yeah. So sorry, I never really answered your question. I do think he will be in the squad. Whether he comes on, like you said, depends on game state and stuff. But that would be amazing, though, won't it? If he can.
It would be. I mean, I was at the first game of the season, so I said you. So it would be quite a nice arc of you come back. Just a shame there wasn't a nice trophy handed out to him at the end. But that is one thing. It's the first time that the Premiership trophy will be at our ground because obviously they got to do the duplicate, haven't they?
Yeah.
So, but did you see that the head of the Premier League isn't
Richard Masters is not going to the Etihad? What do you make of that?
Well, he did. Well, apparently he's done it previous. So he wasn't
so he's gone to Liverpool or something.
Oh, he wasn't even there last year.
Oh,
so I don't think there's obviously he must. There must be something there. He doesn't want to be photographed, handed up. When it does, if it does eventually come out, maybe just doesn't want to be seen handing the trophy over to.
Yeah.
But
It is
what does that tell
bonkers,
you?
right? Like, we're talking about like why do Arsenal get the pile-in? Like, why is it just so widely accepted that there's these 115 charges that have been broken down? Like Richard Keys even broke them down, man.
Fair play to him. I don't like. He was the only one, wasn't he? This week that sort of straight after, it was he was laying out those charges.
And like
there's an article in the Athletic today as well, so they are starting to.
But I mean, even by fans, like what Scott said earlier, like people are literally just preferring City to win. But it's like there is a chance, a very high chance, I would say, like when there's 115 accusations, there's a high chance that you are guilty. And obviously innocent until proven guilty and all of that jazz. But like, I don't know, like, why are people just happy to accept this? And it's like, we have done, this is the thing, I think. People will say, oh, you spent money. Like, how the hell are you meant to get to a level where you compete with these without spending money? And when Arteta took over, everyone was saying to get them to even being a top 4 team, he's going to need to change the whole squad. He's going to need to get people in. How are you meant to do that without spending money? And then there's the element of we're doing it in a self-sustainable way. We've taken risks in terms of cancelling contracts. We've taken the longer route to get there. We haven't recouped the best transfer fees, but we've taken risks in terms of just terminating contracts. We've cleared the wage bill. We've done it all from our own revenue. And yet people are cheering on this state-funded. It blows my mind.
I mean, to be honest, I think I've done it in the last 4 or 5 years where you just City win, just shrug your shoulders and just go, okay, inevitable, because that's what fans are. It's tribal. It's who do you see at work every day? Now, obviously, I live in Manchester, so I do actually see a few City fans. But for you guys, for anyone else around, look at yourself and say, well, fair few United fans, a few Chelsea, a few
Liverpool. I know,
And I had some guy say to me, well, it's because all my mates, I got a few mates that are Arsenal fans and I don't know any City fans. And this is a Liverpool fan.
Yeah. And it's interesting how you consume and engage with sport, right? Because for me, I would never ever want Tottenham to win the league. But like when it comes to Liverpool City, the last few years, I've wanted Liverpool to do it because I respect their project. I respect their processes of how they got there. And like,
and it gave us a blueprint of how we could potentially do it. Or it was our only way of doing it because we haven't got the backing that other clubs have got. And Liverpool was the same sort of the style of self-sustainable. You're gonna cherry pick some big signings like your Van Dijk and your Alisson, and you're gonna drop them into a squad that's been built over time. I think that's the stage where we're at now with the Declan Rice acquisition, and now going for next season. Is you're at that stage as stage 4 where you've built that team to get you to the
foundations are there. You're picking
picking
the art on the wall now.
Yeah, and that's why you've got to be ruthless and get rid of the players like Nelson and Smith Rowe and Eddie, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah,
exactly. And getting back to the preview, so Everton's lineup, so I think they'll go unchanged. They obviously beat Sheffield United 1-0. They've not lost. They've lost one game since end of March, and that
very good defensively, aren't they?
Yeah, albeit they did get hammered by Chelsea 6-0 in that run, but they're doing well. So do you think it'll be unchanged for them?
Yeah. I can't see any. I can't see any change to that because isn't there is it that Mikalenko? He got injured, didn't he?
I don't know. I'll take your word for it.
I think he was there. Right? Is he there?
It says he's injured. Yeah.
The left back.
He was their left back. Yeah.
Yeah. He always has a good
game. He does well against Saka, don't he?
Always.
Yeah.
I've never seen Saka have a really good game against him. To be fair. So for this game, but then you got Ashley Young.
Yeah.
Playing. So is that give Martinelli a bit of someone to run at later in the game? Don't know.
We've seen Martinelli on the right wing sometimes, haven't we?
Yeah, if he goes over, I don't know. I think. I mean, I just the Saka get the whole I don't know if it could be on the game state. Say it all depends. Right, go through Sunday. The scenario: City go 2-0 up after 20 minutes. It's going to be fairly flat, I'm afraid, isn't it? We've got.
I don't know. I think there's a huge chance that Sunday could just be a bit of a party. We know it's done and a party, like celebrate where we're headed. Like that happened last year. Like we blew it. We were all deflated.
But we didn't have this tension, did we, mate? Because we're all going to be listening. We're all going to be checking our phones.
But I don't think there's many people that actually will be in the ground that think West Ham are going to do it.
No, you're right. Maybe I think but if it's still imagine it's 0-0 or City 1-0, 75 gone.
Oh, then it will get tense, of course.
And then that will then change our, goal difference doesn't matter, does it? But imagine if it's 1-0 in our game.
Well, that goes nicely into it. What are you thinking? You've obviously I think you nailed it tactically in terms of where Everton could cause us issues. You've said it's not going to be. Well, I don't know if you said it was not going to be a walk in the park, but more like we shouldn't think it is going to be.
No, I don't think it should. I don't think we should, but I think 3-0.
So it's not going to be a walk in the park, but it's going to be a walk in the park.
But that's me being generous, because normally it's about 4 or 5 to Everton, isn't it? Yeah. So I don't know. I again, it's all. I just think it's that May sunshine last game of the season, right? The new kit isn't being worn.
No. Go on. Do you want to elaborate on why?
Yeah, because if there's a mathematical chance of the team or being able to win the league, they have to wear the same kit that they've worn all season.
That was news to me.
That's new. Well. Yeah, that's news to me. Just shows how long we haven't been involved. If we both were unaware of that.
I can tell you when the last time was we were involved in the title race on the final day of the season. Do you know when it was?
I'm guessing it was 99.
Yeah, correct. 25 years ago.
Yeah, and it was Villa, wasn't it, at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that was the Spurs, United, Les Ferdinand goal.
Yeah.
All of that still hurts. That still hurts. But yeah, I just think if it.
So you're going 3-0. Well, so okay. I am going the same. I'm going 3-0. I think Everton will make us nervous in periods with their directness, and I think there is the element that we still have a bozo moment in us through direct football from opposition. But I think we'll get the job done. The question I've got, though, 2 more questions I've got. What's your City West Ham prediction? I've got 4-1 City.
3-0.
And then the second question I've got is, who do you think's scoring first out of Man City or Arsenal?
Oh, City.
Oh, okay.
City. Yeah, I think it should. I really, really hope I'm wrong. I really do, but I just think it could be a killer. 15 minutes. Foden screamer or something like that, and then it kind of then we sort of go 1-0 up, and then the shackles will come off us as soon as City go up. I think we'll just go, okay, let's just play our football.
Do you think there's any chance their heads drop?
No. I think maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, but I think you've got different characters now in that team, and Arteta I trust him enough to not allow that to happen. I'd be very, very surprised if it did, and it would almost. I mean, that'd be the worst way to end the season, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because I think this way, at least we can say we literally took it to the wire. I think if we drop points then, and there's a little bit more of a gap than 1 point. Of course, then...
and ideally you want to take it to the last 10 minutes, don't you?
Yeah.
I know our hearts won't be able to take it, but
oh mate, I would take a heart attack on Sunday if it meant there's a chance of winning the league. Put me in an ambulance. I would take one for the team.
Check the defibs. It was City were 2-0 down to Villa, weren't they?
Correct. Yeah.
On the last game of the season, and they brought it back.
About that.
So yeah, I did until I saw something about it the other day.
QPR famously, they were down.
Yeah, and I mean, but 2-0 down to Villa. I mean, you don't know. You really, really don't know. What happens if red card in the first 10 minutes for City? Now we know it's not going to happen, but you know it. We're just clutching. Well, we're not even clutching at straws because I do think we've accepted it. We're just trying to imagine manifest scenarios where it could possibly give us a tiny little bit of hope.
But I think that's the thing, and it's like if they are going to go and win it, I hope they put us out of our misery in the first few minutes. Like I don't want to get to that point where
because you think that'd be more heartbreaking.
Yeah, but if there's a
but then it could go both ways, can't it? Because if they don't get that goal, then it's 0-0 with 75, and you're 4 and we're 3-0.
Oh yeah. I'm talking from the perspective of like, if you could tell me, Man City are going to 100% go and win the game, I would rather
then you want it done
in the first
2-0.
But
yeah,
100%. I would rather choose it. It stays 0-0 as long as it can, and like there's a chance, and we get roped in, and then we're depressed. But
and then you'll be on your knees. Either way, in tears. Either way. So
but no, it's before we wrap up, I'll look through the questions and we'll give a few shout outs. There's quite a few guys that have joined us. But is there anything else you want to cover before we get out of here?
Looking forward to seeing you Sunday, mate.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think it's these last 2 years. I know we've not won anything, but I don't care. I know we will. Like the best way I can think of it is, like I said, ask yourselves the question: if Mikel Arteta is still manager of Arsenal Football Club for the next 5 years, with this crop of players, with the ability to add more, what do you think we'll achieve? And I think you'll feel better about where we're headed. I really think we're just getting started at the top level.
It's just nice to be back. That's to be back relevant, to be back. I mean, last season was my favourite season in the last 20 years.
Clive said that as well, yeah.
And then this season is topped it, and again, it's what Clive says, and I think it does true. It is true, or rings true with me. It's who you share in the season with. You know, the journey that you're going along with. Nowadays, go back 20 years ago, you're not able to do what we're doing now.
Yeah.
You're not able to chat instantly after, all of that stuff. And now it's just nice to have the fan base connected again with the club, all aligned. It's all looking good, and things just looking good for the future. So as long as we can get the right couple of signings, bit of recruitment sorted, I'm confident of where we're going.
Me too, mate. Well said. So a few shout-outs and a couple of questions before we get out of here. Our mate Bungle was in the chat. 2 of my favourite Gooners. Have a good show, lads. We'll catch it in the morning. Up the Arsenal. Shout out to Bungle in Japan. Mr. Arsenal. I've been speaking to Bungle a lot more recently. And yeah, it's nice to kind of hear about his background and living near the manor and stuff. Well, basically on the manor as a proper Arsenal. Cheers, Bungle. Who else have we got in? Dominic Streeter, who I believe was one of the guys calling out for Uncle Mike to come back. He respects nothing about Klopp, fair enough, but he does say great pod again, boys. Tommy Gunn's in late to the party, but afternoon, guys, afternoon, mate. Tommy thinks it's going to be a riot. 5-0 to the Arsenal. Marsh is in, says nice one, lads. Thanks for joining, guys. And then final couple of questions. Tommy Gunn. Smith Rowe and Ketia Ramsdale leaving in the summer?
I hope so.
Do you think all three will actually go?
You've asked Dom, and Dom's in the chat, and he knows exactly what I'm going to say. I've been banging on about it for 2 years. Smith Rowe's got to go.
He's done.
Done.
That game where he got man of the match. My unpopular opinion. I don't even think he was that good in that game. Was it Luton?
It's just. I'll go back to the likes of Smith Rowe. Is just that great great for a team like Villa.
Yeah.
Top 4, chasing top 4, not elite. He wouldn't get in the Man City squad.
Not a chance.
So
when you put it like that, that's a really good way of phrasing it. Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, you got, and we know Mikel's been ruthless. So we've accepted it, and we've just got to go. Right, we're going to lose some of our favoured players and Hale enders, but we just got to do it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then final question from Scott, Dream Team Professor: where are we going after if the unthinkable happens. Does he mean as in where are we partying,
No,
or does he mean
that's exactly what he means.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if he meant like what's next for this Arsenal team.
No.
Oh man, I don't know. I've not thought about it. Like if yeah, I'm gonna be a mess. Right? I can't. So I was watching Fever Pitch last night, as you know, right? And that is one of my favorite ever films. I think just because it connects to my whole childhood in terms of how I fell in love with Arsenal. That feeling of seeing the green grass for the first time, getting there, like the fish and chips, the onions, that feeling of connecting with the player. And I'll text you, I'm not embarrassed of that. I cry every time I watch that film.
Yeah.
And I was crying last night, picturing, like, you know, at the end of the film when there's the parade and everyone's in the streets. I was like, can you fucking imagine?
The world's not ready. The world is not ready for it. I'm telling you, it'll be absolute carnage.
What would you do? Like, so do you remember 2004? Because I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
I can't really remember.
I've done 89 parade, 91. I've done all the parades. They're all standing or bus stop.
Were you there against Leicester? Were you there against Leicester? Final day of the Invincible season.
Yes.
Because I was there, but I'll be honest, all I remember from that is running around Southgate Station with an inflatable trophy after the game. I can't remember, like, what I was young, right? So, like, what happened after?
There was just parties all up a street, Islington. It just goes crazy. And then I think we were still out till the next day. Seriously, we stayed at a mate's house and flat up there, and then we was out to the next day, and then we went straight onto the parade.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got tentative plans for a venue after that we'll be going to either way. So it will just be a better party if we do win, but if not, we're still gonna have a good time.
Yeah, man. It's fingers.
So yeah, we'll see you there, Scott. We'll
oh yeah, Scott's going to the game actually.
Yeah.
It's Scott's birthday next week as well. So Arsenal, it's been a few Arsenal supporting birthdays this week. It was Nima's this week. It's mine on Sunday. Scott's next week. There was someone else on Twitter. So Arsenal, well, more West Ham. Come on, do us a favour. But Uncle Mike, thanks so much. I love chatting to you. Proper Arsenal. You've got a train to catch to London now, so we'll see you on Sunday. But guys, thanks so much. There were loads of you in the chat, and I'm sure you've done it already. But if you've enjoyed this, please give the show a like, subscribe to the channel so you can support us on our journey. Obviously, it's the end of the season, so I'm not sure what we'll do content-wise in the summer, but I don't plan on sitting still and doing nothing. So open to suggestions. But yeah, please share the word. We're obviously a small fan-led channel. Like to think we're not clickbaity, and like to think we resonate with quite a lot of, in air quotes, normal fans. So if that's your gig, your bag, give us some support. But on to Sunday, let's cap off a memorable season, a memorable journey, a historic season, which I'm so confident will see us get the trophies we deserve in the next few years, regardless of Sunday. Uncle Mike, thank you very much. Final words?
Let's fucking go.
Up the Arsenal, come on.